Security will come to order. Without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. Veteran suicides continue to be a national epidemic. Veterans are estimated to have a suicide rate that's 50% higher than those who did not serve in the military. A major driver of suicide rates is the incident of post-traumatic stress among our veterans. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, between 11 and 20% of those who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and/or Enduring Freedom suffer from PTS. Other estimates range as high as 29%. Veterans with PTS may be troubled by intrusive thoughts, avoid people, places, and things, and experience hyper-awareness and nightmares. They may find they are no longer able to trust and love those closest to them. Some may even feel that life is no longer worth living. Unfortunately, many veterans have met significant problems in receiving the health care they deserve. The issues regarding the inadequate treatment of veterans by the VA have been widely reported. These include long wait times and the overprescription of dangerous opiates. Identifying and utilizing the full range of effective treatments for veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress is something that the VA must do without delay. One treatment that complements existing therapies is the connection of veterans with PTS with service dogs. These are not comfort dogs or therapy dogs, as useful as those might be. Service dogs perform valuable services for veterans, calming them during a panic attack, turning on lights in a dark home, waking them from nightmares. Currently, the VA only provides service dogs to veterans with physical impairment. However, a 2010 VA Inspector General report stated that the VA, quote, faces challenges implementing the guide and service dog program. VA only started assisting mobility and hearing impaired veterans with service dogs in 2008, 6 years after being authorized to do so. VA personnel told us the actual demand for service dogs is unknown, end quote. With tens of thousands of veterans returning with mobility and hearing impairment from wars plagued by due to the use of improvised explosive devices and other things, this 6-year delay represents a stunning bureaucratic failure. The VA contends that there is insufficient evidence that service dogs help those with PTS. However, ample scientific findings and ongoing research suggest that the VA may very well be wrong. Service dogs are not intended to, nor do they cure PTS, but they provide a safe, non-addictive tool for veterans to live normal, functioning, productive lives, and they could provide a safe complement to existing treatments for PTS. The urgency of the veteran suicide rate demands that we explore this option. In 2010, National Defense Authorization Act, Congress authorized the VA to conduct a 3-year study on the efficacy of pairing veterans with PTS with service dogs. Instead of being completed in 2013, the VA study is not expected to be completed until 2019. According to the VA, the study has undergone, quote, multiple significant and unexpected challenges. The first phase of the study, referred to as Phase 1, began in 2011 and had to be suspended and restarted twice, once after 2 dogs bit children and again after dog health issues arose. The VA attributed these problems to issues with vendors contracted to provide the service dogs. Many of the dogs provided by the vendor were of substandard quality and had hip dysplasia, a condition that could have been treated earlier if the vendor performed standard screening procedures. Of the 26 veterans that were enrolled in Phase 1, 12 completed the study, and 4 more are expected to complete the study in February of 2017. The issues with Phase 1 could have been avoided if the VA had properly screened the vendors and had reached out to other public and private sector organizations engaged in similar ventures. Organizations like Canines for Warrior, which is based in the district I represent, do not experience these issues because of their experience in sourcing and training the dogs. Instead of conducting outreach, the VA insisted on developing its own veterinary standards for the study, but the Department of Defense already has its own military working dog standards. In fact, DoD is an internationally regarded trainer of dogs and has a team of over 55 personnel, including 14 veterinarians. Had the VA initially adopted DoD standards, the VA could have avoided the $10 to $12 million failure of Phase 1. While the VA eventually did reach out and adopt some DoD standards, it appears that development of its own standards was largely duplicative and wasteful. The VA began Phase 2 of the study in December of 2014 with numerous changes based on lessons learned from Phase 1. These changes included the VA hiring its own dog trainers to provide support to veterans throughout the study, incorporating DoD veterinary standards, and moving the study from one site in Tampa, Florida, to 3 separate sites in Atlanta, Georgia, Portland, Oregon, and Iowa City, Iowa. Yet the VA is only meeting half of its monthly recruiting goal of 12 veterans for this study. Similar issues echoed in the 2010 VA IG report. This problem is not based on a shortage of interested veterans, but instead on the VA's problems filling dog trainer positions and the alleged complexity of the study. While the VA is struggling to pair veterans with service dogs, other organizations are attempting to fill the void. In fact, the committee has spoken with various organizations that cumulatively claim to have hundreds of dogs that are trained and ready to be paired. Contrary to the VA's assertion that quote, there is not enough research yet to know if dogs actually help treat and his symptoms, unquote, there is ample anecdotal and scientific evidence that service dogs can help veterans with PTS. Today we will hear from witnesses familiar with that evidence and from veteran Cole Lyle, who credits his service dog with markedly reducing his PTS symptoms. Veterans cannot wait until 2018 for the VA to introduce a low-cost, low-risk, and high-reward treatment option. The problem of veteran suicide is too urgent. For this reason, I have introduced the Puppies Assisting Wounded Servicemembers Act of 2016, co-sponsored by many of my fellow committee members, including members on both sides of the aisle. This legislation would create a program for veterans with the most severe levels of PTS who try to VA-approved treatment and remain very symptomatic, to then be referred to an accredited service dog organization. The VA would reimburse the organization supplying those service dogs, and all funds expended would be offset with funds from the VA Office of Human Resources and Administration's expenses for administrative offices, conference planning, historic preservation, office artwork, and facility interior decor. Those who risk their lives for this country deserve the absolute best care upon their return, and time is of the essence. I'd like to thank our witnesses for their testimony today. We have veterans testifying and many joining us in the audience, and I want to thank them very much for their service. And with that, I will recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee.